What is up, guys? Network attached storage. It's nice, but that's kind of the reason why I couldn't get a video out last week. So I actually have a NAS sitting here at my house, and it had a firmware update last week, and for some reason it did not want to turn on. So I apologize for not being able to get a video out. But today, obviously it's working. That's how you're seeing me now. I was able to get one out, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into this project, and we're going to start working on, well, first we're gonna fix the image issue that we had before, and then we're gonna go ahead and take care of the body of images. So that's where you're gonna see all of the actual photography. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Alright guys, so I've got our project pulled up here in Atom, and then I also have our design file open here in Adobe XD. And so the goal of today is really to just make sure that we get everything set up, add in, the folder where all of these images are going to sit, make sure we add in our, GraphQL query, and utilize the Gatsby image plugin. And so we're also going to change up a little bit of the code that we had for the image that you saw up here when we developed this initially, so that it actually works with the Gatsby image plugin properly. So I think we had it working. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're just going to make sure it's done properly now. So we're not going to worry about styling this week. I think we'll just save that for next week and knock that out in one little video. But we will go ahead and get these images in, and then next week we'll take care of all the styling here, and then we'll take care of basically this contact button as well. So we just want to get the images in. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to Atom, and let me open up the terminal here and type in Gatsby develop, and that should kick off this server here. Perfect, there we go. So let's go ahead and open up localhost port 8000, and here we go. Our website is working. So as you did see, it is loading this in here properly, but that code is not quite like I want it to be. So let's go through here and make sure we get this updated. All right, so let's jump into our header.js file here, and you see we're just calling the image. So yes, technically this is working, but what we do want to do is, and actually before I make this change, let me go ahead and show you, if you remember before, we couldn't get the image working when we did this, source, come on, equals to wherever the image actually is. So it was in images, profile. So if you remember, this wasn't working. However, I will show you how to get it working properly. So just to show you it's still not working, it's a missing image there. So the issue here is we're not importing the file. So we need to actually import the file. So I'll call it the profile. I'll call it profile. Okay, so we'll say from, it's back a directory in images, and then it's the profile.jpg. And then basically down here, we are just going to change this to equal the string, or equal profile. Okay. So if you run that, now you can see the image is being pulled in here, and I can't show you exactly. So basically this is the one that's using the image here, and you can see it kind of fade in, and this is just imported like a normal image file. Nothing special is being done to it, and that's why you can kind of just see it flash in compared to this one fading in. So anyways, what we can do here to clean this up and make sure that we aren't using this like relative path as a default, we can come in here, and in our image, we're going to say fluid, and then we're going to do that same thing. So profile, and then we're also going to add an alt tag here, and I'm just going to say profile photo. So if I save this and come back, now you're going to see we've got the one image there. It's still there, and if you refresh, you can see it still fades in. Okay, perfect. All right, so what do we want to do next? Let's go ahead and start tackling our little section we've got going on down here. So to do that, so what I want to do is I basically want to have a folder where I can drag and drop those images into. So if we go right here into our images folder, I'm going to create a new folder and call it photography. Okay, so basically what I want to do is every image that I drop into photography, I want to appear in that body section of the page. So I'm going to come here. I have some images. I'm just going to paste them in so you can see these are the images. Alrighty, so they're just in that folder. That's it. Okay, so what we want to do now is I'm going to create another component and I'm going to call it body. So I'll go new file, body.js. And in the body, we're going to, let's import a few things. So we'll import React from React. We'll import static query because we're going to need this. And I believe we need this because this is a component, not necessarily a page. So I'll import that from Gatsby. We're also going to need to import our image from, Gatsby image. Now notice I am going to import image here instead of importing this, mainly because I just don't want to go through this right now. Okay, so I'm just going to use it like by default. So if I wanted to change this here, I think I can just swap that out and then is it still going to work? Let's go back. Yep, it's still working right there. Okay, perfect. And then one other thing that we do need to keep in mind, or fix I should say, is if you look at all of these anchor tags, they're basically, they don't have this relative no opener, no referrer on them. So let's copy that and go to, where is it in our header? Actually, I believe it is. Yep. So for each one of these here, right after the blank, because they're all opening up in a new tab, I'm just going to add that, and that's going to get rid of that error. So that's all gone. Okay. So in our body, let's write export default. And then all of that code will pretty much go right in here. And let's go to our, well, for now, let's just add a section in here first before we do anything else. Section. So obviously this isn't getting used and this isn't getting used yet. Comment those out. And then if we go to our layout, I will include the body, and then I will add the body in right here. Oh, and I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Got to change that to body. So import body from body, run that, and then we should be good. So here we go. It looks exactly the same. Let's add just a little bit of code in here to make sure it's working. So I'll say paragraph. This is the body. There you go. There's the body. All right, so we know that that's working. Now what we want to do, let's uncomment this, is we want to add in a static query so that we can actually, query all of our images within that folder and, put them in a UI here or in some HTML here, I should say. So let's actually go to our GraphQL page here, and we are going to build our query. So I'm just going to delete all of this, and the first thing that we are going to look for, and let me just Okay, there we go. So the first thing we're going to look for is all file. And then we can actually add a filter on here. So we'll filter the extension. All right. And then in there, we'll say regex. And quotations, we'll say JPEG or JPEG that way. Or let's do PNG as well. I think we're only going to use those two. And then if we run this now, whoops, I don't mean to hit save. If we run this now, you're going to see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different node or edges or nodes, whatever you want to call it, being returned here. And if you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images in our platform using that extension. So let's go back over here and let's continue to add more to this. So I also want to filter down to just this photography directory. So we're going to say relative directory, and then this is going to equal photography. All right. So there we go. And now we've only got 4. So that should be these 4 here. Now I'm not 100% sure. So let's go and add the name to it and run that. And now you can see the names here. So this is the unsplash, 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 and unsplash photos. Okay, perfect. All right, so there's a couple other things that I want to bring in here. So I do want to grab the relative path. I would like to grab the birth time. For now, we might use this in the future. I'm not sure at the moment. We have the ID, the name, relative path. And let's bring in the child image sharp. And then in here, let's grab fluid. And then if we run this, yeah, it's going to require these. So it should run with all of that. Now you can see each one of these images here. With everything being returned, the ID, the name, the relative path, the birth time, and then for the child image sharp, you're seeing everything returned here. So from base 64 to trace SVG, aspect ratio, source set, all of that. So that's what we're going to use for now. Let's go ahead and jump back to our code real quick, and we have to add a little something in this section, and this is going to be our static query. Static query. Okay. So in our static query here, we're going to say query, and then we will add in this. And let's go and grab our query here. Come back, say GraphQL. I'll do the backticks. And then I'll paste this on in here. Let's just indent that so it's easy to read. All right. And then down beneath this here, after this last backtick and this closing curly brace, we're going to write render equals. And this is where we're going to start using some of that data. So we're going to say data. And then in here is where we're going to write what we're going to do or how we're going to, create whatever we're going to create. So, I'm going to say data dot all file dot edges dot. So this is all file edges dot, then we have nodes, but I'm going to say map edge. Okay. And then in here, this is where we're going to put the HTML. So let's use our image that we've got pulled in here. We'll set fluid equal to something. And let's add our alt as well. Okay, so our fluid is basically going to be, if you look at this, we're saying data.allFile.edges.map. So I'm mapping this to edge. So then we're going to say edge.node, because then that's the next thing down in here. So this is basically like, this will loop over everything in there. Node.child image sharp. Whoops. Sharp. And then just dot fluid. Okay, and then over here, we'll say edge.node.name. Okay, save this. And let's cross our fingers and see what's going on here. Data. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to close out our static query. Wow. Okay. Been staring at the computer too long today, that's for sure. Save that. And come on. Hopefully this will work. Let's just clear this and restart this one more time. See if this is going to work now. Did get an error again. A syntax error. I don't see why that would be causing a syntax error though. It should work without a problem. Okay, so we're just getting that same error over and over and over again. Edge.node.child image sharp.fluid data.allFile. Wrapping, okay, so wrapping that in something is helping. Sorry, so maybe that's just the issue. Maybe let's wrap this now. Okay, so we'll wrap this in a div with the, I'll give it a class of image. Okay, great. And then let's come back over here. All right, perfect. So now it's loading in. You can see this is the image here. And then as we scroll, here's this image. It's pulled up. This image is pulled up. And then this image is pulled up. Perfect. All right, so there, we have it loading in now at least. And we added a class around this. So let's just go to here and before the media query, let's say dot image. Let's just set a max width of like, I don't know, 300 pixels for now. Okay, there we go. And then just so they all fit on the screen, let's float it left. Or not, okay. Let's display inline block. No, okay. Alright, so now that we got 300 there, at least we can see these, you know, they're a little smaller. So if I refresh the page, you can kind of see this fade in a little bit here. So that's like the SVG fading in first. And then the idea here is that we can actually just, where is it? We can actually come in here to our source, images, photography, and then we should be able to just drop an image in there. So let's go to Unsplash. Unsplash. Okay, and let's say I'll grab this image, and I'll just grab this one. So I have two images I just grabbed. Let's come in here, and let's go, let me just X that out. Okay. Now, let's grab an image. I'll just drag and drop it. And then if I scroll down, you're going to see it's generating everything for right this second, but it's about to load in there. So these are really massive images, and I wouldn't think that anyone would you know, put a 4K image in here. That's, yeah, pretty much a 4K image. But anyways, the idea here is it's working. So hopefully you would put maybe 1080p in at the most. But even if you do put in a massive image, it should handle this pretty well. When you go here and you go to load the page, you can see that they're all loaded in quickly. It's just we needed to refresh that because it was generating everything. So everything loads in extremely quick. I know we're right here on the local host right now, but that is working for the most part how we want. So the goal in the next video, aside from just fixing the styling, is I do want to flip this sort order. So right now it's putting in the latest, or well, yeah, the latest at the very bottom. I want to reverse that. So whatever the most recent file is that you drop in is always at the very top. That shouldn't be too hard to flip around there, but it is something that I do want to try and fix. And then we'll work on that whole styling, and then we can actually push this to GitHub, and we should be able to see this work how we're expecting it, because it is a static site. So I think that's everything that we're going to need for this right now. Alright guys, that's it for this video. We've successfully built a GraphQL query, pulled in all of the photos from the photography folder, and then we've brought them into a component on a page, and that's being pulled to the layout and then being rendered out. So, and then that's also going through the Gatsby image. So it's looking like it's going to work pretty well. Next week we are going to start working on some of the styling here so that we have that nice grid looking the way that we want it, and then we're going to go ahead and also work on grabbing that extra call to action button on the bottom and putting that in the UI. So that shouldn't take too long. We might be able to do that all in just one video. So anyways, that's going to be it for today. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If it helped you and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll try to get them answered. I'm still learning this myself with Gatsby JS. I haven't messed with it ever before. This is the first time, aside from going through the tutorials and everything. But anyways, this is going to be for this video. I will catch you all in the next one.